Welcome back. As we promised in our intro, we are going to focus on the Egyptian-African relations and the Egyptian-Rwandan relations too. Since occupying the post, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was very much keen to return back to Africa, as Africa is our strategic depth, and to make sure that Egypt is going to regain its position on the continental level. To shed more light on the Egyptian-African relations, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Suzy Elgeneidy, Vice Editor-in-Chief of Al-Ahram Al-Arabi magazine. Thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Suzy, and a very good morning.
Good morning, dear.
Before going into details, Dr. Suzy, tell me the significance of having these strong ties with our African allies in general and with the Nile Basin countries in specific.
Of course, it is very important to enhance our relations with African countries. Since Egypt has been actually concentrating on African relations since the Pharaoh times, ancient Egyptian times, since it goes back to even Queen Hatshepsut, who led a mission to the land of Bond to bring back gold, seedlings, and animals and other goods. Undoubtedly, Egyptian-African relations continued, and the diversified Egyptian-African relation is one of the most important areas of Egyptian foreign policy, actually.
Mm-hmm. And to add to what you've just said, just less than 24 hours ago, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs released a statement regarding the Egyptian-Somali relations, for example, and renewing Egypt's full support to the Somali people to live in peace and to preserve their territorial integrity and sovereignty. How do you see the Egyptian keenness to renew its stance regarding respecting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of our African nation?
It is very important because one of the aims of the Egyptian foreign policy is to have security and peace in the continent, in the African continent, and everywhere, of course. Egypt always aimed to reunite countries and have security and peace, and going to peaceful solutions, not only military solutions, because Egypt thinks that military solutions are not the only solution for any conflict. Of course, Somali problem was one of the most important things that Egypt has concentrated on trying to solve, not only these days, but years before. Also, if we can see in this context, the objective analysis of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, for instance, foreign visits and international meetings since assuming the presidency on 2014 indicates that Africa is being accorded a proper place on the presidential agenda.
I think his very first visits abroad as a president, it was to Chad and Algeria. I mean, returning back to Africa.
Was to Algeria and also to Chad and Nigeria, and it gives a hint of the Egyptian presidency giving high importance to its African countries' relationship. Egyptian role in human and economic development in Africa, development and regional integration has become the Egyptian message to the countries of the continent. Also, Egyptian approach in international forums, the multiple axes and circles of Egyptian actions at the continental level, the Horn of Africa, East Africa, Nile Basin countries, Central African countries, Southern African countries, and West African countries. This is confirmed by the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi visits to these countries: Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Gabon, and Chad, as you mentioned.
Of course, and to add to what you have just said, Dr. Suzy, regarding the keenness of Egypt to continue with boosting relations with our African allies, particularly in the field of economy, in exchanging or increasing the volume of trade exchange, in the development, in developing the infrastructure, in also making sure that we are going to exchange expertise regarding the vocational training of youth to be able to lead a better life for the African peoples. Let me know your vision regarding this.
Yes, of course. A massive package of infrastructure projects and major road works is being implemented actually in cooperation between Egypt and a lot of African countries, the most recent of which is the contract to design and construct the refugee dam and power plant in the Sigler George area of Tanzania. Egyptian companies are drilling more than 100 groundwater wells, and Cairo is leading the electricity interconnection project. Also, President Suzy has placed great emphasis on interconnection projects between Egypt and Africa through the transportation and electricity sectors. Also in the health sector, there's a lot of assistance from Egypt to other African countries. The most important of these projects also are the Cairo Cape Town project, the electricity interconnection between Africa and Europe, the Alexandria Lake Victoria Water interconnection project, and railways connecting the continent countries. The Cairo Cape Town project aims to connect 9 African countries by establishing land roads across the continent to facilitate investment and trade. Also, the giant land road will pass through Egypt, Sudan, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Zambia, Zimbabwe, I guess, Gabon, and even Cape Town, the capital of South Africa.
Dr. Suzy, Dr. Suzy, of course, the African file is very rich, and we are going to need episodes and episodes to cover or to analyze and in detail the Egyptian-African relations. But let me seize the opportunity, since I do have the honor to have you via phone, to speak a little bit about the UN General Assembly and the most important topic, at least for us as the Arab and Islamic nation, the Palestinian cause, and the recognition of a Palestinian state by a number of the Western countries, namely Canada, Britain, France, Belgium, you name it. How do you see this move and its impact on the discussions which are going to take place in few hours from now in New York?
Of course, as we all know, Foreign Minister Dr. Badr Abdelati will deliver Egypt's speech before the 80th UN General Assembly, while Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli Dr. Mustafa Madbouli will head the Egyptian delegation to the opening of the Assembly, and the two-state solution conference, which is very important, will be held in New York, I guess, in Tuesday. We have now 150 countries from 193 countries who are in the UN have been actually declared Palestinian as a country. This will enhance more the two-state solution, which is very important. It gives a bit of hope to the Palestinians and to the Arab countries concerning what's happening in Gaza and in the West Bank, unfortunately. A lot of countries, actually, Britain, who has the Balfour promise, have declared Palestinian as a country. This is very symbolic, important, actually. As I said, 150 now countries, it's the majority of the UN countries are declaring Palestinian
a Palestinian state, yes, amen to that. And we hope that this is going to help to return back to justice and to put an end to the Israeli arrogance and atrocities against civilians. Well, Dr. Suzy Elgeneidy, Vice Editor-in-Chief of Al-Ahram Al-Arabi magazine, thank you very much for your input. Have a very good day. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.